The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is demanding the lifting of travel-related COVID-19 restrictions as the country heads into general elections 3 years ahead of its scheduled time. A statement issued by the party on 21st June indicated that SKNLP leader Dr. Terence Drew is calling on Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris to ensure the restrictions are removed to avoid disenfranchising overseas voters of their rights. In part, Dr. Drew stated, quote, "Every Kittitian and Nevisian, whether residing in the Federation or overseas, has a right to take part in the upcoming elections. Dr. Harris and his cabinet of 3 elected members will not be allowed to use administrative means to prevent and deny citizens of their democratic right to vote." End quote. According to the statement, the SKNLP has heard concerns of overseas voters who believe the current status on travel restrictions could prevent them from participating in the soon-to-be-announced date of the 2022 general elections. Referring to the constitutional and democratic rights of St. Kitts and Nevis overseas voters, Dr. Drew stated, quote, "No Prime Minister and his cabal should take away that right from them under the guise of public health measures which do not exist in any other CARICOM country." End quote. St. Kitts and Nevis is considered to have a highly vaccinated population against COVID-19, with over 82% of the adults being vaccinated. It was on such basis that the country was reopened. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party is rejuvenated under its new leader, Dr. Terence Drew, says political analyst Peter Wickham in a recent interview with SK Newsline.
My sense is that there's a rejuvenation, clearly, and I think that is being reflected, or that will be reflected in the fact that, he's able to come out of the gates and essentially need a new team. If the people of St. Kitts buy into the idea, it basically means that Labour Party's base is back, and the Labour Party has historically been a very successful political machine, which was hampered by the fact that it was having some issues regarding leadership. If it is that it has been able to fix those issues and they have been able to return an attractive leader, then definitely it's a key player in elections going forward.
For Mr. Wickham, the hindrance to the party's progress over the past 2 elections was former Prime Minister and its long-serving leader, Dr. Denzil Douglas. With new leadership, he believes the party is in a strong position ahead of the upcoming elections.
My feeling in terms of the Labour Party was always the Labour Party's problem was Dr. Douglas. And I'd expressed a view before that I thought that if Timothy Harris had taken over the Labour Party, when he left, the Labour Party would have been a different entity now. That has sailed, that ship has sailed. You now have a new person in control. And I think it gives Labour Party Labour Party supporters the opportunity to come back to life, so to speak, under the guise of new leadership.
The Labour Party held its first leadership election late last year, with Dr. Terence Drew emerging as the new leader, the first one in over 30 years. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, A rugged, beautiful shoreline and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Completing their list of candidates for the 2022 general elections, the People's Action Movement announced its final 2 candidates, completing the full 8-seat slate on St. Kitts. Announced were Troy Flanders for constituency number 6 and Lincoln David for constituency number 7. Both candidates will be fighting amongst the toughest political rivalries, but party leader Sean Richards said there is much confidence in the hard-working candidates.
And so tonight, you are here, we are here, the people of constituency number 6 are here to support our candidate for this constituency, not Liver Flanders, but a different Flanders in the person of none other than Troy Flanders. Troy has Pam at heart. He has the people of this constituency at heart. I cannot promise you anything that we cannot deliver, but I can promise you that he, like the rest of us in this movement, will keep the promises that we are making here. You know where he stands, and you know better than many why he is a part of this movement. He has offered himself for service at this level by joining the PAM CCM One movement because he is a fighter. One movement for one people in one federation.
PAM and CCM have been promising to deliver on the matters and issues that had created team unity in the 2015 elections. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
While the global tourism recovery is underway, more needs to be done to make the tourism sector more resilient to shocks and crises, says World Travel and Tourism Council, WTTC, in a statement recently on its latest report. The report focused on practical guidelines and case studies to support destinations in becoming more resilient and sustainable at its Sustainability and Investment Forum, which took place recently in Puerto Rico. The report, Enhancing Resilience to Create Sustainability in Destinations, jointly created with ICF, WTTC's industry partner, and a renowned global consultancy and digital services provider, provides practical, structured insights for destinations as they consider their resilience and sustainability. WTTC's latest EIR report also revealed that 2021 saw the beginning of the recovery of the global travel and tourism sector. WTTC's latest EIR report also revealed that 2021 saw the beginning of the recovery of the global travel and tourism sector. Its contribution to GDP climbed an impressive 21.7% year-on-year to reach more than $5.8 trillion. The sector saw a recovery of more than 18 million global travel and tourism jobs, representing a positive 6.7% rise in 2021. While recovery is underway, more can be done to ensure that the sector has a sustainable and inclusive future, the WTTC said in their statement. Following the last 2 years of chaos brought on by the almost complete halt to international travel, no tourism destination has been untouched by the impact of COVID-19. And many destinations have also been affected by major shocks, such as extreme weather. To support and guide destinations, this innovative analysis in the report builds on the real-life case studies and present a range of resilient actions for destinations before, during, or after shock events, the statement added. The report provides 5 elements destinations should focus on to build both resilience and long-term sustainability: environment, infrastructure, energy, economic, and societal resilience. It offers 4 phases to analyze the shock and its aftermath, understand the risk, prepare for shocks, respond to shock, and longer-term strategies. The report presents case studies illustrating how destinations which rely heavily on tourism, whether they are cities or islands, deserts or tropics, apply resilience awareness. In 2019, the travel and tourism sector's contribution to GDP was 10.3%, that's $9.6 trillion US dollars, falling by 5.3%, nearly $4.8 trillion US dollars in 2020, when the pandemic was at its height and suffered a staggering 50% loss. The full report can be found at www.research.wttc.org. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
Are you ready to create high-performing TV commercials?
Ready.
Ready.
Ready. Create and tell compelling stories. Reach your target audience. And build brand awareness. Our strategies and execution will provide for your desired outcome and clearly represent your brand. Visit us at www.madebyopen.com and get started on your creative video commercial today. Lights, camera, Open Interactive.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
Can you believe all the ings we can fit under one roof? We're here to help your small business any way we can.
To quell the spate of gun violence in St. Lucia, the government has sought to impose stiffer penalties for gun-related offenses. An amendment of the firearms bill that would allow these stiffer penalties will be tabled in the Parliament on Tuesday, June 21st. Known for his Peace and Love initiative when gun-related crime was at an all-time high, Castries Central MP Richard Frederick maintains that these amendments are necessary to signal that gun-related crime will not be tolerated in St. Lucia.
When I first got into politics in 2006, the spate of crime within the city was just intolerable, and I felt that something needed to have been done. It is in that regard I initiated the Peace and Love football competition, asking the guys to war over balls as opposed to using guns and bullets. That was successful because if you look at the trend when I came in until I left, there was a tremendous decrease in criminal activity and more so homicides. This thing got out of hand over the last couple of years. And I do believe that it is time persons in an authoritative capacity do whatever is within the realms of decision making to ensure that you send some kind of signal of seriousness out there.
According to Frederick, with these amendments, criminals will face the full brunt of the law.
The government has decided to increase the penalties for gun possession. I think we are going with 10 years or a fine of $30,000 minimum. It is my desire, my personal desire, because I live by the principle, if you cannot hear, you have to feel. That alternative in the imposition is not what I personally will agree to. I will lobby for both a custodial sentence and the imposition of a fine, because the guys out there, they pay scant regard to life. And they believe that a life is lost is like walking into the supermarket and buying any other bit of grocery and walking out. I believe as a member of the government, we need to send a very, very strong message out there that gun possession would not be tolerated. It has to be a deterrent, and so the penalties must indicate government seriousness as to dealing with the spirit of violence in this country now.
Frederick insists that the amendment to the Firearms Act is a significant step in the right direction and implores all to play their part in eradicating gun violence in St. Lucia. For the DBS News World, I am Jason Darius.
Guyana's Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, during a recent visit to Costa Rica, signaled Guyana's support for efforts to protect people of the Americas from food shortages. A new Continental Alliance, a food plan for the Americas, was proposed by Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture at the recently concluded Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, California. And the press release from the Minister of Agriculture noted that the Guyanese minister underscored the importance of such plans. We in Guyana will support the Continental Alliance and contribute to the Director General's vision. We have to work together to achieve food security, Mustafa was quoted as saying in a press release. This medium and long-term work is based on 4 strategic aspects: the strengthening and transformation of agri-food systems in the Americas, challenges and opportunities for agri-food trade in the region in the new geopolitical context, the role of science, technology and innovation, and facilitating economic and social inclusion by reinforcing the cooperative system. This support comes as Guyana is leading a similar plan in the Caribbean. The region hopes to slash its more than $5 billion annual food import bill by producing more food within the region and increasing intra-regional trade. By 2025, CARICOM hopes that at least 25% of its imports can be substituted with products from the region. Minister Mustafa, who is also chair of the CARICOM Ministerial Work Group established, spoke about the reality of the agriculture sector in this country, a strategic nation with a great capacity to become the food basket of the region. We have the land, the water, and the capital, he added. Like Guyana and other CARICOM plans, Mustafa described the alliance as an innovative way of uniting the countries and working together to ensure that they address food security. Food security, Mustafa reportedly noted, has been aggravated by a current context of overlapping crises, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ukraine-Russia crisis, and climate change. Mustafa made an official visit to the ICA headquarters in San Jose, Costa Rica, where he met ICA Director General Manuel Otero to discuss the Caribbean nation's action plans, priorities, and agricultural challenges, and to advance the dialogue on the main advances of Guyana's agriculture and new opportunities for technical cooperation.
President Macron of France has suffered a major political setback after his party failed to win a majority in the country's parliamentary elections. The Left Alliance did better than expected, and Macron now faces a tough challenge to deliver his policies. The centrist Ensemble coalition, so they're expected to win 245 seats, well short of the 289 that are needed to control the National Assembly. The left-wing alliance, headed by Jean-Luc Mélenchon, is second on 131. Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally has 89 seats, with the mainstream right-wing Les Républicains, headed by Christian Jacob, back on 64. Let's hear more from our Paris correspondent, Lucy Williamson.
His centrist coalition has lost a third of its seats. Just look at the mood.
The situation is unprecedented. The National Assembly has never seen a configuration of this type in the Fifth Republic. The situation constitutes a risk for our country in view of the challenges that we have to face.
This is now President Macron's main opposition, a new alliance of green and left-wing parties dominated by far-left MPs. The initial estimates confirming their new status as the first opposition party of France.
It's the total defeat of the president's party and there is no majority. We have achieved the political objective we gave ourselves to bring down the men who with such arrogance twisted the arm of the whole country to get elected.
But this was the big surprise of the night. Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally Party jumped from a handful of seats to almost 90. Plenty of opposition to the president from all sides.
We are going to continue to bring French people together as part of a great popular movement unifying all patriots from the right and the left.
The parliamentary opposition to Mr. Macron's centrist coalition is now much stronger than before, but it's also more fractured, with one bloc led by Jean-Luc Mélenchon on the far left of the chamber and another by Marine Le Pen on the far right. French politics is realigning around these three political groups. Some voters say it's no bad thing if President Macron is forced to negotiate with his opponents. Others believe denying the government a majority only leads to stagnation. President Macron is facing a new era of political opposition that some see as good for democracy and others as bad for France. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Paris.
Thanks very much to Lucy. Well, let me bring you some pictures that are coming out of Paris now. Here we have the Parliament. There are people who have been elected arriving, apparently, following that election in France, gave that upset to President Macron. No doubt he's going to have to make deals with the various parties, so we'll be able to follow that and see exactly how well he does or how successful he is in that endeavour. The BBC's Hugh Schofield is also in Paris, and he told us why, after President Macron's resounding presidential election less than 2 months ago, these parliamentary results look so different.
A lot of people who voted for Macron did so not out of any love for him, but to keep out Marine Le Pen. I mean, broadly, the country now breaks down into three blocks: the centre, Macron, the left and far left under Mélenchon, and the right, far right of Marine Le Pen. And they're pretty much on a level par. But because there are three of them, it means that in the two-round election, which is the second round of the presidentials, it meant that everyone on the left voted to keep out Marine Le Pen. So Emmanuel Macron was badly elected. He was elected in a kind of unhappy way, reluctantly, a country not giving him an enthusiastic welcome, but just saying, all right, we agree. And saving up for themselves, a majority of the country, this feeling that, well, we can exact our revenge in the parliamentaries which are coming. And that's what's happened. In the past, presidents tend to get a big boost in the parliamentary election, follow their election, because the country says, well, OK, we'll give you the tools to do the job. But not this time. That's because Macron was being re-elected and a lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people don't like him. And as I say, we're keen to have this opportunity to deliver him this stinging rebuke.
Well, that happened. And I'm just wondering, I mean, what does that mean then for the next few years in France? I mean, some of the discontent that we've seen over cost of living, or Mr. Macron wanted to bring in pension reform, for example. Somebody like Marine Le Pen was much more interested perhaps in immigration. I mean, where do we think there will be changes in French politics or policies, or does it all come to a slowdown?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the risk is it does come to a big slowdown. In France, the great reform projects of Macron simply peter out, that he ends up sort of cutting a kind of tacit compromise with this big opposition on the extremes, and so does nothing bold or daring. But that was his sort of trademark, that he would be bold and daring. So possibly this next mandate will be one of wasted opportunity, and he'll just drift through it and focus on foreign affairs and not do very much, which of course would be seen by supporters as a great waste. And then the other question, of course, is internationally or in Europe now. I mean, he's been the great shining new leader of reinvigorated Europe, and very much enjoyed this role of striding the international stage as the young leader of a France which was back at the reins of Europe. But now what? I mean, when everyone can see that he's so gravely weakened at home, will he have the same panache abroad?
The SKNFA Premier League resumed with midweek action on Wednesday at Warner Park, which saw St. Peter's SC brushing aside MFCR Old Road Jets 3-0 and Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs edging fast Cash Saddlers 1-0. Kareem Harris scored for St. Peter's in the 9th minute, and Kareem Simmons scoring 2 goals in the 48th and 85th minutes. The victory for Spurs came from a Jashawn Jeffers goal in the 24th minute. Coach Austin Deco Huggins of Spurs said he was pleased with the win and is a good way for his team to resume the league. Captain of Saddlers Junique Eddy said the defeat, while deflating, should not deter them from pushing for a playoff spot, which is still mathematically possible. SL Horses St. Paul's United continue their winning ways at the top of the SKNFA Premier League table, brushing aside Escrave Newtown United 3-0 at the Warner Park on Friday. Kalonji Clark, Keithroy Freeman, and Kishorn Warren were the goal scorers in the 48th, 55th, and 87th minutes, respectively. Keon Batiste of Newtown received a red card after picking up his second yellow card in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. St. Paul's goalkeeper Jamal Jeffers lauded the efforts of his players in getting the victory and keeping a clean sheet.
I mean, it's good because when you're, like you said, as a goalkeeper and you get a clean sheet, it boosts your confidence, it boosts your team energy, the spirit and everything. Because, defense win championship, attackers win games. So the more you defend properly and get more clean sheets, then you go further in the competition. And then you never know, you just end up winning the cup.
Meanwhile, Coach Earl Jones of Newtown continues to preach that his players need to show more commitment at training if they are to make the best of the next few games to finish the regular season.
First 50 minutes of the game was really good for us. I think that the guys have executed well. To be honest, in terms of the vibes in the team, that's been killing us for a while. And I mean, if we don't work on that, then we'll continuously again getting results like we get tonight again. So that's how it goes. Well, once we could try to remember what we did in the first half and continue it in the second half, I think we'll be good. If you look at the play, it's not bad play. I think Newtown been moving the ball well. It's just getting the ball in the back of the net. So in terms of the message, it's just that we need to work on our scoring. The final pass, final third, we need to do some work in that area probably. Again, but the guys have to be willing and ready to accept it in terms of coming to the training ground. I mean, that's been a challenge lately. Nobody really like to lose, and when you lose, you'll be getting a lot of things, a lot of negative feedback in terms of the fellas, whether it's even mentally. A lot of times we only look at our technical and physical appearance to the game. But I think mentally it's been killing us, and for us, once we could be mentally strong for the remaining games, then we'll be definitely good.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.